We are Duck Hunting Fanatics, knee deep in the duck blind. If it flies, it dies. Only Duck Hunting Fanatics know what it feels like to see a brightly colored Drake mallard cup its wings and soar towards your decoys. It's what we do, and it's what we love. Duck Hunting Fanatics, with boots on the ground, eyes in the skies reports. And we get it from professional duck guides all across the country. We interview them for their top tips and tricks from their years of experience from the duck hunting blind. This is Duck Hunting Fanatics, and this is Eric Wilkes.
Greetings, friends and fellow duck hunting fanatics. Eric Wilkes here with another episode of Knee Deep in the Duck Blind. And today we've got Brad Quick with us, and we're going to talk about duck dogs for a second. And as you can see on my screen, for those of you that are watching this, we have his dog Yut up here on the screen. And believe it or not, it's the first dog I've ever seen. He's a bulldog, and he is a full-on duck dog. So Brad, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Any chance to get to talk about a dog, especially mine.
No, absolutely, man. I'm super excited. I'm gonna for those of you that are watching, and for some of you that are listening here, I'm gonna cycle through a few pictures, but there's some awesome pictures here of Yut. He is a duck dog through and through, and I just can't believe it. So Brad, I gotta ask, man, bulldog, he's a duck dog. What inspired you to train a bulldog to be a duck dog?
Well, I'll be honest, it's by accident. And one thing I do want to just say first of all, he's what's called an Old English Bulldog from the David Levitt bloodlines, which means he was backbred to be what the Bulldogs were before people really made them pets back in the days of bull baiting, the late 1800s and stuff like that. So he's super athletic. His legs are underneath him. He doesn't have the breeding issues, the health issues, none of that. I mean, he's 7 years old and going just as strong as ever. So
I mean, he looks
that's
stout
why
when you
looks a little
look at
different.
him. Yeah, he when you look at him, I mean, he looks like he is in shape. He looks very healthy, and I'll be honest, he has the look of a determined bulldog right on his face when you look at him.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. We can get into that because he definitely has bulldog attitude if you miss. But well, we got him from some military friends of ours, and those of you out there who are military, you see the name Yut. His paper name is Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli, which is the guy that kind of ruined it for every Marine out there. That's always the guy that just screwed everything up. So, but we just call him Yut, and it's a Marine thing. I did 10 years in the Marine Corps, so that's kind of where the name and all that stuff came from. But we got him. Never planned on him being a hunting dog or anything like that. But it's one of the things, we got a house full of dogs. We have 4 right now. And I always like to have my dogs off leash and run them and keep them healthy and trim. They live a lot longer, happier and healthier. So him being what he was, and he was just wearing my wife out. My wife's very tiny, and he was just super strong, and he is super strong. And there's little ponds and stuff around the neighborhood we live in. And I was like, well, if I can at least get him in the shallow parts of the ponds, let him work through that, it'll run off this energy, because it was summertime here in Texas, and it's hot, and I didn't want him getting overheated and, putting his health at risk. So we started kind of playing around with the ponds. He'd get in a little bit and stuff. And I had a little special toy that I could get wet. I just went and got a bumper just for doing that. And then he just kind of kept doing it. He really liked it. And I kind of like, all right, we'll probably need to swim. So I kind of just I actually walked out into one of the ponds where it was real gentle. Just kind of kept getting deeper and deeper and keeping that thing right in front of him. And he figured out he could swim. So once he figured out he could swim, so now I didn't even have to get wet. I could just throw the bumper out there. He'd go get it, bring it right back to me. Get it, bring it right back to me. Kept bringing it back. Wasn't tearing nothing up. So we just kind of kept doing that. And was talking to my guy named Gary that kind of taught me how to duck hunt. I kind of came to traditional duck hunting late in life. And Gary kind of took me under his wing and taught me all the tricks of trades, how to blow a duck call, and then he started helping me train Yut. And because he said, "Why don't you see if he'll get a bird?" I'm like, "Well, okay, well, I'll try it." And so we kind of kept going at it and going and going and going. And lo and behold, I got more bumpers, put ducks in on them, and man, that became his thing. He just had to go get it. And so we went full bore into the training with help from other people. And I'm no duck dog trainer by any means, but had some help from some people, and did that. And, I took him out opening day, and my wife was like, what are you going to do if he doesn't hunt? I'm like, well, I don't care. He's my dog. My dog comes with me. He just lays in the bottom of the blind. I don't care. Just come out there and just chill with me so I'm not by myself, because I was hunting public lands a lot and long walk in. Not a lot of people want to make that, so it's kind of me and the dog. And I shot that first duck that first morning, and he got a little confused in the decoys, but I kind of waited out there and kind of showed it to him, and he got it, and it's been game on ever since. I mean, that's what he lives for. That is his job. He 100%. And he is Bulldog through and through. We built a lot of brush blinds, and he will knock a hole or chew a hole or bite a hole or just make a hole through one to get to wherever he's got to go. So,
that's
he's
awesome.
a character.
That's awesome. There's nothing like hunting with, man's best friend. And it really is. Their dogs are awesome creatures. And especially if they're trained for hunting and they're your hunting partner too. And now I understand it. I mean, I know you trained him yourself with a little bit of help, but as I understand it, he was also featured in a couple magazines and even won some speed retrieving contests.
Yes. Actually, they Splash Dogs Dock Diving Contest. They have them here. They're kind of some local ones that come around, so we go to it just because it's kind of fun, and a lot of friends around. They want to see the bulldog that swims and retrieves. So we've gone to it, and he's won first place twice, and it's called a speed retrieve. They start at the end of the dock. They jump in. They got to get a bumper that's hanging over the water, and then swim back. And it's a timed event for the moment they jump. And man, he outswims every lab.
That's amazing, because labs have such long legs compared to a bulldog. And I know he's an English bulldog, but that tells you, to be quite honest, just how athletic and agile he actually is when you're comparing him to an animal that's literally more than twice his size in length. And you would think that a lab would outswim him just by sheer size and leg length. So it's amazing that he's able to do that.
Yeah, he's not that little. I mean, he stands probably about knee height on average guy, and he's full 65 pounds.
That's amazing. And now every dog's got an attitude when you miss. I can only imagine what old Yut is going to do. What's his temperament and his attitude when you got a duck coming in, you're screaming in your face and you miss? Now, Brad, I know every dog has a little bit of a attitude when you miss. So I got to ask, what's old Yut like when you got a duck flying in your face and you take 3 shots and you miss? How's he respond to that?
Oh, he shames you bad. Oh, it is. He will look at you, give you the side eye, and just sigh. If you miss again, he will leave the blind and go sit about 20 yards away and just stare at the pond and won't come back until you shoot a duck.
That's funny.
It gives you the look of, you had one job, idiot, one job, and you screwed it up.
That sounds like my dog. He gets so mad, he'll just start barking at you. If you shoot and miss, he'll just sit there and bark at you. What are you doing, you idiot? Make sure you hit that duck. That's my only reward.
Yep. It's like, what'd you bring me out here for?
Exactly. Well, let's chat training for a minute, because I know a lot of guys, I mean, trainers are expensive, right? Nowadays, depending on where you are in the country, I mean, it could be anywhere from $500 to upwards of $1,000 a month. And a lot of guys just don't have that budget or that disposable income to train their hunting partner. So what advice would you give? And let's just talk beginning, like let's talk starting a dog. What advice would you give someone that's maybe considering getting a dog and training it themselves?
The biggest thing is basic commands: sit, stay, wait, come. Those are the basics, so that your dog, you give those basic commands, so no matter what, your dog knows what to do and it's going to do it. It's going to sit there and, you know, listen to you and do that. That's the biggest thing that I got told by a bunch of friends and stuff that have been training dogs and have dogs. And so that's one thing that we do with all of our dogs is do that. And that helped out in the basics. And then, like I said, the one thing that I did was advice from Gary was to get a toy. You know, that's the retrieving toy, to develop that drive and go with that. And that toy is only used for training purposes, for when you're starting out. And you always put the toy up where the dog can see it, but can't get to it. And when you pull it out, then the dog knows that's what you're going to do. And then when they don't do what they're supposed to do during the training, you take that toy away and you put it away. It's kind of like what they also do with, with police dogs and military working dogs and stuff like that. Their rewards getting that toy and going and doing it. So that was the approach that I took with that. And that's how it worked out with him. And now, whatever toy I throw out, he doesn't care. It's all about getting that duck, feeling that bird in his mouth. And another thing too is he has a soft mouth. He hasn't ever torn up a duck, so that's always a good thing too. But he does that, and then on the pictures you can see that I have an electronic collar on him. I use the audible beeps on it, so there's no real stimulation to it other than the audible sound. That's what we worked on. Of course, he had to get a few nicks here and there as a training device, and that's another thing too. If you're going to use one, I always tell everybody and to read the manual, study it, read it. It's not there for you just to, shock the dog. It's there to get their attention. It should be just minimal. It should basically just get their attention, and then that's it, and use other stuff. So like when I break out the electronic collar for him, he starts salivating, jumping around, and it takes me a minute to get it on him because he wants to go, and he knows, and he runs to the door, and then he runs to the truck, and he sits in the truck looking at you. Let's go. We got stuff to do.
Yeah, so and that is awesome to hear you say that, because same here, man. I've had dogs my entire life, and I know, especially for those of you guys that are listening or watching this that are, considering getting a dog and training it yourself, or maybe you already have a dog and you're trying to train it yourself, is the introduction of the collar, and specifically the shock collar. I think one thing that I would point out, and Brad said it perfectly, is your dog should be salivating at the mouth. They should be jumping up and down. They should be running around in circles and just going absolutely nuts when they see that collar. And what the point here and the root of it is, your dog should associate that collar with fun and not cower or be scared. I've seen guys, they just tend to use it as a correction device or as a disciplinary device versus an attention getting device. And there really is a significant difference, because it's on how your dog's going to associate what your dog's going to associate with that collar. My dogs are the same way. I have a couple of them now, and they're both duck dogs. And also they double, they're versatile, meaning that they also double as I can take them upland hunting and they'll point out birds for me. And
I take dove hunting. That's his spring training.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's just whatever's in season, and if I can go hunt it, I will. And so I know the same thing when I introduced the collar, because I started them myself. I had some help with one of them where I sent him off to training because it was a friend of mine, and he's a guide, and he's like, man, let me just have your dog, let me guide with me. He just really wanted to guide with my dog. And I said, look, no problem, because it's going to be extra training for him. I'm like, just take him and enjoy it. Throw me some of your profits, but we'll have a conversation about that later. Again, introducing it properly, like you, Brad, same deal, introduced them via the audible tones, and very, very seldom do I ever use the actual shock. And it's only a momentary nick, what is it, 1/10 of a second or something like that. And I rarely even have to use it. And nowadays, once you get them kind of trained up, they know what comes after that audible tone. So 99.9% of the time, it's just all the audible tones, and they respond to it. and they respond to it very well and very, 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 very rapidly. So, because they know what comes next. So it's really just associating, getting your dog to like associate fun with the collar. And same deal. Like if I put my dog's collar on, they know we're going outside. They know we're doing something fun. When that shotgun bag comes out and the case comes out, it is a whole another level.
Exactly. I'm the same way. You know, Yut hears that shotgun safety click off.
Yep.
Oh, he's on point. It's
Nancy. Yep.
Oh yeah. And we actually have another dog. Yut has an apprentice this year. So, and I just introduced the new pup. He's 5 months old to the collars this past weekend. And all I had him do was just wear it with the audible beep, just beep it while I was doing his commands, because he's still learning. So he's getting used to it. And he already knows now that, hey, the collar means fun.
Yep. So. And that's, I think the key with any dog that you're starting on training is just fun. And in doing that, you can't necessarily give a dog drive, but you can inspire them to bring out the drive that's already in them if they have it. And so, you know, I'm not a believer in you can make a dog have drive. I am a believer in empowering a dog who already has a natural drive to just bring that out and bring it to the front and bring it to the surface and let them just be who they are. And so
I agree 100%. That's my philosophy with it too. He had the drive and I just channeled it to retrieving stuff from the water to retrieving ducks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it, right? It's just helping them channel it and where to apply that drive. And once you get that, man, oh man, is it so much fun. I think I have just as much fun watching the dogs work as I do, you know, doing the actual hunting.
Oh yes. I love watching the dog work. That's the biggest reward to me. And you know, we take out new hunters because I get, you know, military guys hear about the dog and I like to help guys get out and take their kids out and stuff. And they love the dog because he's all lovey-dovey with them, you know, and then get to watch him go and get somebody's first duck is just one of the greatest things in the world.
Yeah, and it's such joy in that. I mean, it's almost like your own kid, you know, shooting their first duck. But
and Yut's gotten both of my kids' first duck. He's went out and got both of them. So that's been
even better. Even better. That's awesome. Yeah. And I think just for those that are listening, I mean, you know, basic commands are the foundation, right? Now I will say this, depending on your dog, you know, if you're training them for ducks or if you're training them for upland, there's different things out there. You know, if you're just training an upland dog, I would not teach your dog to sit. But if you're training a duck dog, you got to train him to sit, and don't overwhelm the dog. Just be patient and study the dog. I think part of this too is understanding the dog's behavior and how they're interacting and paying attention to their behavior, because you can't force a dog to do anything, right? They're just, especially, you know, and I don't know about you, Brad, maybe you can speak to this. I mean, I have a Weimaraner and they're very stubborn, and if they're not, they're not going to cooperate. And I'm sure Bulldogs are much the same way, right? You know, that famous attitude, you know, you can't the dog to do it. You got to read them. And if they're not going to cooperate, you know, Brad said it best, like put the toy out, but put it up where they can see it and can't get to it. And again, you're just instilling like, hey, I'm just going to help you channel your energy. And if you're not going to cooperate, well, then I'm just going to put this where you can see it. And I've also been a part of helping with some training. And a lot of that training too is if the dog's not going to cooperate, put the dog back in the truck in the kennel, but put them where they can see the other dogs doing the training. And essentially force that dog to, hey, if you're not going to listen and you're not going to cooperate, well, guess what? You're going to watch everybody else go have fun.
Exactly. Like, Gary told me, he goes, treat him like you would a 3-year-old that you're trying to teach something to.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, there you go. I was like, yep. All right. You didn't listen, little Johnny. Now you got to go sit over here and watch everybody else do it.
Exactly. and that's kind of the fun part of it. And then they figure it out real quick. I mean, it only takes a few times for them to, unless you got a really, really stubborn dog, but I've only seen it take a couple of times, 2 or 3 times of doing that. And then all of a sudden they're just listening, they're cooperating, they're engaging, and off you go.
Exactly. Yeah, that's been my experience with Yut. And like I said, I'm no professional trainer, so I don't claim to be, but man,
And I'm not either. I'm just from what I've observed and from experience, and then training some of my own dogs. And what I can say is, again, and again, you said it great, Brad. Treat them like a 3-year-old. And part of that is, as an owner of the dog, you got to be patient. You can't force them to do it. Just be patient, have fun with it, trust the process, and know that your dog's going to come around, and just observe their behavior and gauge the training on that day. I feel like a lot of times it can be different every day, especially if you're just getting the dog started. It's going to be different day to day. The only other thing
they got 15 minutes to learn something.
Exactly, learn something. The other thing I was going to add too is introducing the collar. Once you've got the basic commands kind of down, there's different approaches to it. I actually combined my collar training with a choke collar on the basic commands. So it's a little bit different approach, maybe than what some other guys are doing. But all I did was real simple. When I would issue a command, sit, stay, whatever it might be, I would just and again, very lightly, I would issue the audible tone, and then I would also pull up on the choke collar. So for instance, if I'm doing a come command, I would issue the audible tone and then slightly just pull on the choke collar to get the dog to actually initiate coming to me. And then that way they associate the collar beep with the command that I was issuing. If it was sit, again, same scenario, issue the audible tone along with just a slight tug while I'm standing next to the dog, tug up on the collar so the dog would immediately sit, just so that they associate, again, just reinforcement. That's really all it comes down to. I'm not trying to actually choke the dog. I'm just trying to let them know, like, hey, I'm here, do this.
Yep.
And follow.
Now, I do the same thing. I use a 30-foot check leash.
There you go.
I use the loop around, for let them go to, and I say, let them kind of run around, go come, and then with that beep, and so they learn.
Yeah.
I do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and it's a great way for dogs to learn. And if you got a check leash, great. I've even in the past, I've used like an old 20 or 30 foot garden hose, and attach that to the collar just to slow them down a little bit. So you're because sometimes they want to run wild.
Oh yeah, the mother of invention.
Exactly, the mother of invention. And so sometimes they just want to run wild. But Brad, getting back to old Yut, because I want to continue the conversation on old Yut. What's your favorite memory so far? And I know it's going to be hard, but I'm gonna put you on the spot a little. What's your favorite memory of hunting with old Yut?
My favorite memory of hunting with old Yut. So I've got a couple of them. My favorite one, I'd be honest, was when he got his first duck without any commands from me. It was probably the 4th weekend we went out. I didn't have to point nothing. I didn't have to show him nothing. He knew it. He saw it hit, and off he went. He got it, brought it right back to the blind. That was probably my favorite memory. It was a beautiful full plume gadwall, and I was like, there it is, buddy. That's awesome. And then I got a bunch of them. Both of my kids, they kind of picked it up a little late, and they both came out and he got their ducks. My son's first duck was a Drake wood duck. Awesome. And my little girl got a big old mallard, her first one. And I've been lucky enough. I got a lot of friends and stuff like that, and that I get to bring their kids out. So that's always fun to watch kids get their first one and see him get excited, because then the kid's excited and he's excited with them and sniffing it and brings it to them, and he's prancing around with them because he feels their excitement. And so a couple of good ones, like I said, my favorite is that one. And then is when he got his first duck all on his own after I shot and didn't have to, I told him fetch it up, and that was it. That was the only command I had to give him, all the direction I had to give him, and he was on it. And he's made some pretty impressive retrieves at times too. He's made a couple over more than a couple over 200 yards. I mean, once he's on it, he ain't giving up. If it's wounded, he ain't gonna stop until I call him back. And he's gotten those. And I got a good friend of mine that I call my second retriever. I call Joe my second retriever, and those two have actually gone out and had a race on getting ducks. Yet spotted him 2 ducks and then out swam him and swam around him, did a victory lap around Joe and swam on back with a duck.
That's awesome. How fun is that? Man,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, hey,
Yeah.
listen, and I know that you were a Marine. We kind of talked
Yes.
about that briefly at the beginning, and you mentioned it, and I want to thank you for your service. And I know you're doing some pretty cool stuff when it comes to working with veterans and actually taking them out on hunts. And you're working with a company called the Fallen Outdoors. So let's just talk about that for just a second. Give me a little background on the organization, and I want to hear your story on why you chose to get involved with the Fallen Outdoors, because there's a ton of veteran organizations, but you chose the Fallen Outdoors for a reason, and obviously there's a story behind that. So I want to hear that as well.
Yeah, so the Fallen Outdoors, I didn't know about it until a friend of mine, Joe, the one I was just talking about, he said, "Hey, there's this organization out here that takes veterans on hunts and stuff like that. You ought to try out for a couple of them." And I was like, "Okay, cool, no problem." So I followed them on Facebook and stuff like that, and then I got to go on a duck hunt, and of course I brought Yut, and everybody had a blast, and we all had a blast on it. It wasn't a stellar day, but it was a fun day. You know, it's a bunch of veteran guys kind of sitting around talking smack to each other, and had a good time. And but then I kind of looked into the Fallen Outdoors, and Joe was one of the pro staff on it, and he kind of told me about it. And so the whole purpose of the organization is to get veterans, primarily veterans, and we do some first responders, but to get them out in the outdoors. So we do camping trips, hunting trips, fishing trips, anything like that. So we get good friendship, fellowship, get guys out, and it's all over the country. But I'm part of Team Texas, so each state has its own team, and it's also there for any veterans, even first responders, anything like that need help. So we have a big group and organization. So if somebody's needing some help, and especially with, you just had the 22 a day thing like that, anybody who's starting to feel those demons creep up, they can call us, and we're going to know somebody or something, and we put out the call, and we'll have people at their house within in as short amount of time as possible to talk to them and help them out and do whatever we need to do to help take care of each other. Because a lot of veterans, unfortunately, they can't share their experiences with people who haven't shared their experience. Right. So it's hard for them to talk about it to just their wife, their family, anybody like that. But we can come in, and we do come in, and we give them a hand. And then we also take a lot of these guys out that sometimes people, guys and girls, I don't want to be discriminatory here, because I do an all-female veteran hunt every year for ducks. Got a couple of women, my wife is one of them, that come out and help out with that. So you don't even have to know how to duck hunt. You just got to show up, and we're going to help you out and have fun. And so that's a lot of what we do. And we try to put on a lot of hunts. It's, we go out, we try to do some fundraising and stuff like that to help pay for this. So, because the whole goal is to not have the veterans pay for anything other than a hunting license. And even with some of the other hunts that we do, we get donated by guides and things like that when we can get those. If there's a special tag or something like that, we try to work that out. So there's almost zero to no cost to the veteran to come do the hunt. And so that's a big part of it. And we've gotten a lot of guys out, and we've gotten girls out, and had a lot of fun. We do it quite a bit, and we've helped some people, and then we've had some veterans come out that we're very thankful for that, because they could just be themselves again, because they're in a non-military town, nobody else around them where they work, and nobody's military, nobody has those same experiences, and they get to come out with us and just be themselves again. It's just like we were in the military, everybody calling each other names, laughing at each other, talking smack, and just having a good time. And that's what a lot of these guys and girls need and understand that there's others there who have the same demons and have the same problems and issues. And, and this is a time to get away from it and need to talk about it. So and that's the whole point of the Fallen Outdoors, and that, you know, I like to help out my fellow veterans and stuff like that. You know, I was in the Marine Corps from 97 to 06. So, you know, being able to help out my brothers and sisters in that way and get them out and enjoy a lot of things that bring me joy is a huge reward to myself, and if it brings other people joy, I love doing that, and that it helps out a whole lot. Then also, you know, who doesn't want to hunt with Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli, English Bulldog? So
there you go. I was waiting for that. Who doesn't want to hunt with old Yut?
so when I do hunts with that, and I've been able to get a few from some guys and stuff like that, like, all right, I'll do it, but you got to bring your dog. I'm like, all right, I'm bringing the dog. Don't worry, I'll bring him. He's the star of the show. Oh yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. And you know, again, you know, thank you for your service, and we appreciate what you guys are doing at the Fallen Outdoors. I mean, it's a really cool organization. For those of you that are maybe, you know, looking to get involved with something to support veterans, or maybe you are a veteran, go to thefallenoutdoors.org. That's just thefallenoutdoors.org. And look up your state's contact info and get involved and check it out. I mean, you know, for those of you that are watching this, you can see right here on the screen, I mean, there's caribou hunts, there's whitetail hunts, there's duck hunts, there's dove hunts, there's bird hunts. I mean, there's all sorts of hunts. So, you know, I would encourage you, just go check it out and see what they're all about. And, you know, Brad, your story is amazing.
And I do want to say this to everybody out there. The Fallen Outdoors is a 501c. It's a nonprofit. Every dollar that's spent, there's a little bit spent on marketing, of course, for advertisement and stuff like that. But every dollar spent outside of the marketing, the cost of keeping up some of the stuff, nobody, including the president, any of the treasurers, anybody, is on payroll. There is no payroll. Awesome. So every dollar and every penny that we can goes back to the veterans, and every region in the United States, we have a South region, a Western region, Northern region, has a big regional webpage on Facebook. And then every state also has a state Facebook page as well too. So anybody that wants to donate, or, you know, donate a hunt, just donate some money, anything, we're always looking for it. And, you know, you don't have to be a guide or anything like that. You can be like, hey, I got this duck pond over here on my deer lease that I've had in the family for, you know, 300 years, and there's always ducks on it, and you know, they can get a hold of somebody, or even somebody wants to just, hey, I you know, if you want to bring a veteran out for this hunt, hey, I'm more than happy to donate, you know, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, shooting rabbits, squirrels, deer, a big hunt, little hunt, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to want to do that, and it's always good, and it's always nice to bring that out. And, you know, we always, and that's one of the things too, is we always, some of the pro staff and all of us are volunteers, we always come out to these hunts to make sure everything's done right, to take care of the landowners, the guides, or whoever is also helping us out and do all this stuff. And that's the thing too. Like I said, we all got jobs, we're all doing stuff, and everybody's a volunteer, but we make the time, and we just, you know, and we're appreciative of anybody else that helps us out and do all that so that we can help others out.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, it's all giving back and supporting. And obviously, I mean, our veterans do such a great service to our country. And I know anybody that's an outdoors guy, whether it's duck hunting or anything to do with the outdoors, we're all patriots, right? We're all gun owners. We all believe in the Second Amendment, and we all support our veterans. So, you know, again, you know, we want to thank you, Brad, for your service, and thank the Fallen Outdoors for everything you guys are doing to support our veterans. You know, anyone that's looking to get involved, just visit the fallenoutdoors.org, look up your local state info on the website. You'll be able to find them on Facebook. They're all over Facebook as well. And just be active, you know, show that patriotism by getting involved any way that you can, if you have that desire. So Brad, once again, man, want to thank you so much for your time. It has been fun. I'm really looking forward to hearing more stories about Old Yut. You know,
anytime.
Hell of a dog, man. That's awesome. I've never personally never heard of a bulldog, an English bulldog.
No one has.
as a duck dog. So it is fantastic. Most guys, you know, it's your standard lab, or I have a Weimaraner lab mix, and I have a German short hair, and they're either, I can take them on either ducks or upland, and they're your traditional, bird dogs, if you will, compared to English bulldogs. So it's really awesome story to hear, and I was super excited to jump on with you and see pictures of old Rut. So thanks for sharing your story with us.
Not a problem. And Yut actually has his own Facebook page. It's Yut Quick at Facebook.
That is awesome. Hold on. We're going to pull this up real quick. So for those of you that are watching, so facebook.com and Yut, Y-U-T?
Y-U-T, Yut Quick.
Yut Quick. Let's see. Oh, here he is. He's got his own Facebook page. There he is, boys and girls. I'm actually gonna add him as a friend right now. There he is, guys. So Yut Quick has his own Facebook page. That is awesome. So if you guys want to follow the life of old Yut, make sure you go to, it's just literally facebook.com/Yut, YUT.quick, and go check him out. Send him a friend request, and you can follow along with what Yut's got going on. He's got about 400 friends right now. So
and then the last post was training day. You're just about to it. You scroll down a little more. As training day.
Oh, here we go, right here. There it is. His first training day right there. Back in the field. There he is.
Yep, getting back out there. And that's the new pup. That's his apprentice. That is Shorzy.
Shorzy. Great name.
Yep.
Love it.
Learning to swim. He's doing good. But yeah. If you're ever down the Texas way, North Texas way, hit me up.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. Well, we look forward to it, Brad. Love to have you on another show, and we'll just talk and rap about hunting and dog, training, and we'll share some more stories. But once again, man, I want to thank you for donating some of your time today and being on, and look forward to having you hopefully on another episode in the near future.
Yeah, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. I appreciate it, and this was a lot of fun. And love getting a chance to kind of brag about my dog.
Well, we love all Yut, man. We're looking forward to hearing more and kind of following along with his story as the season's quickly approaching. So look forward to seeing how he's doing, during the season. So thanks again for your time. And real quick, I want to thank all our listeners too, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to keep doing these shows. So we thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you guys had as much fun as we did today. And we'll see you all on another episode of Knee Deep in the Duck Blind very soon. So everybody have a great day.
We are Duck Hunting Fanatics. Knee deep in the duck blind. If it flies, it dies.